Alright guys, what you're about to see is going to be the first of what I'm going to call a weekend review video. So this is just going to be just a raw video, just edited together. I might put a few comments up on the screen, but this will just be stuff that I do throughout the week. Usually what I have during the week is routine, it's mundane, and I don't usually show it. But every once in a while, like this last week, and I think this upcoming next week, during the week I actually get a lot of work done. Maybe I have some interesting projects going, something that I'm working on so that I can do my bigger projects on the weekend kind of unimpeded. I didn't want to roll these together. It would have turned into like a 10-part Sunday Funday video, so I think what I'm going to do is just cut them all together into one long weekend review video. And anytime I have a busy week like this last week, that's what I'm going to do, and we'll post that all up at once. These could end up being 30-45 minute long videos, so watch it if you want. If not, don't. But this is just kind of bringing you along for a week in the life out here on the ranch. So anytime I have anything interesting throughout the week, like I said, I'll make these videos and post them up, and we'll see how they do. If nobody watches them, maybe I'll cut them up and do a smaller weekend review series. But I think for now it'll be easier just to post them all as one video. So here we go. This week we finish the sprayer and start spraying pasture. So let's get to it. That looks better. Nice new hoses on there. So I'm gonna go check my cows across the creek real quick, and we'll come back and we'll get this and see if we can go spray some of the crap like this fence line over here. Some roses back off that way. So I'll be back here in a minute. Number 32's calf running away from me over here, or at least ear tag number 32. You guys see that? Has a huge abscess on its leg. Seems to have energy, so that's good. I think he's been getting milk. I didn't make it out here yesterday to look at him. That thing is huge though. I'm not sure what happened. So I'm gonna have to get that calf caught. Get him to the vet, I think. See if I can get you a better look at this. Huge abscess. It was spraying like pus and stuff out when he was running. It's gross. The cows are back behind me. I don't want to drive these guys too far away. They're just gonna run though. Jeez. That's not cool. Okay, we'll call Doc in the morning and see if I can get his advice, and we're going to have to figure out how to catch that little guy. There, girls, there's a hole in the fence. Come on. They know it used to be there. So I'm just going to let them into this whole pasture right here. I'm not going to do the whole rotational thing right now, just because I've got more grass that's coming up. I'm way behind schedule, so I got to get this moving. Got to get them through this and get them back over there on the other side of the hay barn. So we're just going to let them have this whole section here, and yeah, go from there. We'll get back to rotations eventually. That's the plan anyway. I was hoping a lot of times when they get into a new pasture they're real excited, but they're pretty calm today. Sometimes they're jumping and kicking and carrying on. So I've been doing some spot spraying. Check out my trees over here, by the way. These ones I was trying to kill. You guys see that? They're dying. So that's good. Come on, just a few more. I'm probably in the way standing right here. number 9. I treated him for pink eye the other day. Doesn't look like he's getting better. Oh, find hot wire. You gotta go around it, guys. Ow, ow. Silly calves. Walk all the way around him here, make sure I go the right way. Wire hurts, don't it, bud? Come on. Oh, yep, there's always that. Alright, let's get this put back up. Alright, it's Tuesday afternoon, and I just finished up spraying all of this pasture, or at least most of it. I feel okay about it. So I know there's some spots right up here in front of me where I got stuck that I haven't actually got back and hit yet. But, you know, we'll get them later. Out here, I don't have GPS or anything, so it's hard to kind of figure out, you know, to get lined up and make sure I'm not missing spots. So I know there's some spots that I missed over here, and I'm just going to leave them for now. We'll see what dies, and I'll come back and spray whatever doesn't. I think I double sprayed a few spots, so I may get a really good kill in a few places, and okay kill in some places, and no kill in some places. Over here, we're filling back up. I don't think I'm going to have time to actually load chemical, but we're going to go ahead and get the tanks back full, and that'll be ready. So we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow, so probably won't be able to get back on it tomorrow, but maybe by Friday I want to be able to spray this pasture back here behind me. So we'll see if we can get to that. Hopefully it doesn't rain very much. It's a low chance, which usually means we're going to get rain, but it's only going to be a little bit. So that's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, didn't get stuck today, so that's good. Avoided a few low spots that I knew about that are going to be wet, and actually as I was driving past them, they didn't look like they were bad. So it's been 90 degrees for the last few days, no rain, so I think everything's pretty well dried out. So I think we'll get this filled up. We'll go park everything under the hay barn. That way it's out of the weather. And go look at cows. I haven't gone over here and checked on these girls yet. We need to go look at grass over there and see how they're doing on it. The next field that I'm going to put them on is this one right over here. And driving through it earlier, man, there's a ton of grass over there. Kind of amazing, actually. So those two pastures back over here, if you remember, kind of this one and this one, I kind of intentionally overgrazed them because I was trying to kill the broom sedge that's in this pasture, and I thought I had kind of messed up because this has just not really come back. It's mostly just weeds that's come back. There's a lot more grass in there as I'm driving through it. There's a lot more grass in there than I thought. So that's I'm pretty happy with that. Once we get all these weeds killed out of it, and there's a ton of Bermuda coming up everywhere out here. It's hard to see when you're just riding around, but when you're doing, you know, back and forth, I had a lot of time to look at grass, and man, it's coming up good. So that's a good thing. Over here, I'm not actually going to spray this pasture, I don't think. Not for now. I may change my mind on that, but I think I'm going to graze it first and kind of see what it looks like. So there's a lot of those flowers and stuff in here, but I mean it's mostly like, look at that. I mean, it's like 2 foot tall grass. Can't complain about that. And it looks like this everywhere. So yesterday I got out and did just some spot spraying down there by the pond where all those roses and stuff are coming through. So hopefully all that'll die. Sprayed some other stuff and sprayed kind of along that fence line. Got stuck several times yesterday, and but bucket's fixed, so I was able to push myself out every time. Didn't have to call the neighbors, so that's good. And it's embarrassing at some point. It's like when you're stuck like 6, 7, 8 times in a row in the same places over and over again. You know, it's like, come on, you know, learn the lesson. But anyway, so made some ruts down there. Not real happy about that, but I think I'm just going to stay out of this pasture for now. Now I could spray most of this off over here. This is all nice and dry. I could spray all of that if I wanted to, but I think I'm just going to leave it though, because the grass is coming up really good. I don't think it's worth the money right now to, in chemical. So we're just going to let it be, and we'll get cows out here. Now this is where they're coming next, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like 3-day rotations out here. So I'll fence off like a quarter of this, and then with my hot wire, and then just every 2 to 3 days we'll move them instead of doing daily rotations. And that's mostly because I kind of need them to work through this quicker, because it's starting to seed out, and in fact it's already seeded out, but a ton of good forage in here for them. So we'll move them through here relatively quickly, and then we're going to get them back over here. It's also coming up really good, so happy to see that. We are going to spray this one though, because it's at the moment got about 50-50 weeds and grass. So we're going to kill off all those weeds, and then hopefully we'll just have a ton of great grass over here. So I'm not putting down any fertilizer yet, but I do intend to. Change this. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But I am going to fertilize, I think, I don't know, we'll see. I've thought about just doing nitrogen, urea. I've thought about doing the little buggies with the granular stuff. I've talked about that before. That's very expensive though. It's a lot cheaper if I just run like a triple 19 fertilizer or something like that. And so that's those numbers. It's phosphorus, nitrogen, and something else. I don't remember. But triple 19, that's just 19 of all of them. So might try that. And you can get that in a liquid, where I could run it through this spray rig here. And yeah, so we might try that and put that down and see what it does. I don't know. So far though, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this stand of grass back behind me. And check that out. Right over here, right next to the gate, there's a lot of weeds, and I sprayed them by hand. And then I kind of came through here with the tractor and kind of hit some of it again. But I mean, if you look at all this, and this is, nice thick Bermuda grass. That's cool. Not upset about that at all. Over here, this stuff, and this is coming up in a lot of the pasture. It's just kind of pronounced right here. But all this grass, I don't know what this is, but this is that stuff that they really like. I don't know what it's called though. But they love it though. They eat it really good. And then, over here, you can see maybe, let me walk out of the middle of here. Yeah. So I mean, you can see all this, and it's this tall. So that's pretty cool, and it's just thick and beautiful. I love it. So, man, that right there is a beautiful sight. I love to see that, and it looks that way everywhere. So I'm gonna come over here and look at this. This actually looks like some stuff I sprayed yesterday is already hurting pretty bad, so that's good news. Let's go check it out. Yeah, check that out. So see, and even this stuff, see, it's all starting to kind of curl up and wilt. This, I just sprayed this yesterday. It's been nice and hot today, 94, 95 degrees, something like that, I think. Look at that, it's all wilting and looking terrible, which is what I want to see. So that's cool. All of this, it may be kind of hard to tell, but see how it's all kind of starting to fold over and curl up and die? That's what I want to see. Over here's some more of it. Now, of course, this doesn't touch the Johnson grass. Might have to get something else to spot spray for that. Yeah. This stuff's not looking good at all. That's awesome. Now, here's something interesting. See all this scum on my pond? I've noticed when I have cows drinking out of the pond, that will go away. And if I leave it without cows for even just a little while, this comes up really quickly. So I've had cows off of this for maybe a month now, and about half of this pond is covered with scum. When I pulled them off of it, the scum kind of stopped over here, and it just barely kind of along this bank, and a little bit over there. But all of this basically has showed up since I pulled the cows off of it. So I'm not quite sure what the science is behind that, but that's interesting. So note to self, put cows on a pond, they get rid of all the algae and scum and crap. Man, check that out. I can't believe that. Already, one day of that graze on. That's good stuff. So, cool. I'm happy to see that. I also fixed this. This is the old fitting. You can see the crack. So, you know, USA. But I probably over tightened that, and that's probably what caused it. So made sure not to over tighten this one. It's working good so far. Hardware store, as always. I mean, what a random fitting. Hose barb, you know, 3/4 inch and then a 1/2 inch female MPT. So, yeah, what are the chances? But they had it, so cool. Cost me like $2. So that's fixed. That's nice. Not to have that leak, and it was getting bad when I was first talking about it not being that big of a deal. It was just a little leak, but the crack got quite a bit bigger, and it was a problem. So I fixed that before I started today. So anyway, I would buy those fittings again. I think that was probably my fault. Like I said, I probably over tightened that and cracked it when I was installing it all. So. That's a problem with threads on PVC. It's really not a good material to be threaded into. The one kind of redeeming factor is that you don't actually have to get it very tight in order for it to seal, because the threads are kind of malleable anyway, and so they'll kind of deform around, especially if you have copper or brass that you're threading into it. They'll deform around the brass threads, because the brass is so much harder, even though brass is really soft as far as metal's concerned. It's way harder than PVC, and so I probably just got overzealous and tightened it too much. So this time, this is literally, and it's been holding all day, but just literally I held on to the valve, grabbed a hold of the T, and just tightened that by hand, and didn't even put a wrench on it, and it's, yeah, solid. So I'd put a wrench on that before, I believe, and just tightened it too much. So that one's on me. One other note, learning as we go here, right? The first time I filled these, they weren't filling evenly because the garden hose is putting more GPM than could drain across. So what I've done is, you can see I've kind of closed this one halfway. That one's all the way open, and that's the one that's got the garden hose in it. And then up here, you can kind of see I've done the same thing. That one's fully open. That one's kind of half open. And then I have the PTO pump running, so it's recirculating all this stuff, and it's drawing out of both tanks, but it's drawing less out of this one, and it's putting more into this one. And then the return valve here is kind of half closed, so it's putting less of it back in here, right? And that seems to be working pretty good. My trailer's not quite level right now, but they're sitting at pretty much exactly the same level. So kind of note to self, while I was spraying today, this one ran out first. So I think in the future I'll leave this one kind of metered halfway closed, and maybe that'll get them to drain at the same rate as well. So yeah, everything's an experiment, so learning as we go. I think that's the way to do this, at least with this setup. The better way to do this would be to have these two tanks meet in the middle, and then draw my suction line out of the middle of them. That way it would be pulling equally from both of them. I think what's going on is, the reason this one drains faster is that it's literally just closer to the pump, and so it's pulling more flow out of this side than it is out of this tank. So for now, we'll just meter that like that, and we'll see how that works. But as you can see, we're almost full here, up to about 300 gallons total. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back up to 400. It may not be wise. It's heavy. You know, 400 gallons of water. That's a lot. Times about, I think it's like 8.6 pounds per gallon, something like that. You can do the math, but it's not light. That's about all this little trailer wants, and it kind of makes it a lot easier to get stuck. So anyway, but we're gonna run with it again, because today, I mean, as long as it's dry, it's not really a problem. So, note to self, just have to wait till it's good and dry. Don't try to drive through mud if you're pulling 400 gallons of water behind you. Seems obvious, but it took several mistakes to learn that lesson. So, public service announcement: water's heavy. If you have a two-wheel drive tractor, take it easy. So I'm down here at my frost-free water, and glad I came down here and checked this. It was almost completely empty. There's a float valve in there. I just found out. I had never really paid much attention to how this worked. I knew there was going to be a float valve in there, but it had gotten stuck and it didn't open. And so they had drank all of this down until it was, I mean, it was way down in there. This, for the record, is that deep. So, and that's with straight fingers. So it's quite deep. There's a little standpipe there that will drain it if it gets overfilled, and I've been holding the float open so that it will be overfilled, because I want this to drain the water that's in there. I've stirred it up quite a bit, and it's real nasty. I dug a whole bunch of crap out of there, and I got the float freed up again. It seems to be working. And then there's a valve in there that will just open it up so that it can fill up, but it fills really slowly. So I've got that open right now. I'm debating on just leaving that open until tomorrow. Now keep in mind, this is draining off of the pond back that way, so it's not like it'll cost me anything. It's just going to drain. I assume that that standpipe, which is kind of right over here, I assume it just drains off over here this way. We may be able to go find it. Once it filled up, though, it's not draining very fast, so I don't know. But I think I'm just going to leave that valve open and just let it be constantly trickling fresh water in there, because this is nasty. Cows aren't going to want to drink that, and I don't blame them. So I think I'll just leave that open, and then maybe by tomorrow, I mean after a day of this just sitting here draining, hopefully, and it might overflow though is the problem. Looks like the water's still coming up. Anyway, we got this fixed. Had to reach in there and clean a bunch of gunk out, but yeah, so frost-free water, note to self, the float can get jammed and it won't open, and then the cows won't have water. And right now we've had enough rain that they've got water over here that they can drink out of, but not good to leave them without water, and I'm relying on this right now, so they don't have access actually into the pond. So this has to work. It's fixed for now. I think I'm going to leave it just like it is, and come back out tomorrow and close that other valve off, and the float seems to be free, should be working. Mixing chemical again. We did not get the rain that they were calling for, so that's a good thing. So I'm gonna get out here, we're gonna get this pasture sprayed, and I've decided I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one over here that I said I probably wouldn't. I'm gonna go ahead and do it, why not? It's not gonna hurt anything. There's a bunch of weeds over there, so we're gonna go ahead and do it. So I'm hoping I can get all that done today. Kind of a lot, but I'll go ahead and mix up all 400 gallons here, and hopefully I can get it all on the ground. So I'm exhausted. I've been working 15, 16-hour days for about 3 weeks straight now. You know, no Sundays off. Holidays don't mean anything to me. Just got work to be done, and it's got to get done. So it kind of reminds me of my military days. Sometimes, you know, 4 or 5 hours of sleep, that's all you get. You're back on the road. Mission has to be accomplished. Nothing can be done about it. There's no way around it. It just has to be done. So that's where I'm at out here. The weather's holding. Spraying needs done. There's no way around it. No shortcuts. Just have to do it. So I'm really looking forward to sleeping in. Not tomorrow morning, but the next morning. Today's Wednesday. So I'm gonna sleep till like 6:30. It's gonna be great. So I can't wait. I forgot my good shade hat, but it's all right. Might get a little sunburn on the ears, but we got about a quarter of this one done yesterday, so we're going to finish it out first, and then we'll go start hitting the other one. And then whatever's left, I'm going to go try to get some fence lines across the creek and stuff like that, and maybe do some spot spraying out here in this other pasture. So back this way. We'll see what I have left after I do these two. I'll probably be close to out if I don't run out before. If I do run out before, I'm not mixing any more up. I'll fill the tanks back up like I did yesterday, and we'll get back after it tomorrow. So that's the plan. Let's get to work.